Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Millionaire Mafia. Today is a very special day for a very small, select, and elite group of warriors, and that is the Marine Corps' birthday. Today, the Marine Corps, both past, present, Marines are getting together and celebrating 246 years of being the world's most elite and well-respected fighting force that has ever walked this planet. And today, that's what we celebrate. We're celebrating that warrior class and that warrior ethos that has been passed on from generation to generation of Marines, and that still continues today, from inception at boot camp, stepping on those yellow footprints, hiking the hills up in Quantico and the officer side, and going on to represent our country and our Corps. If you know a Marine in your life, you see a Marine out in the street, wish him a happy birthday. It'll probably be a happy belated birthday by the time you can see this one. I'll try and get it out today, but we got a Marine Corps ball tonight for the Marine Corps League down at the Yacht Club, so I'm pretty excited about that. This will be my first Marine Corps ball as a newly minted civilian. The thing with the Marine Corps is that once you become a Marine, you never stop becoming a Marine. You're a Marine forever, but you just don't wear the cloth anymore. So pretty excited. A lot of them are old Vietnam, Cobra and Huey pilots, fighter pilots, so the amount of stories that these guys have is just incredible. So it's you know, an honor to hang out with them. And it'll be fun to get for Katie and I to get out of the house and go mingle with those guys. So anyway, happy birthday, Marines. I hope wherever you are, whether it's here or serving overseas and keeping us safe and keeping us protected and projecting power wherever it needs to be, that you guys are well, and you know, thank you for your service. You guys are definitely the heroes out there, so thank you very much. The reason I thought of this video was, in the Marine Corps, one thing that the Marines do very well is their mentorship of junior and upcoming Marines on the enlisted side as well as the officership side. And we are assigned junior Marines under us to mentor them. And kind of sounds weird to be assigned a mentor, right? Assigned somebody who, you know, what is a mentor? To me, a mentor is somebody who you like, know, and trust, and you can bring your concerns, your troubles, and bounce ideas and thoughts off of, and then gain through interaction and observation, experience, and wisdom based off of the things that they do. Now, it's a two-way street, but when you assign somebody a mentor, especially if you don't like that person, it kind of takes away that like, know, and trust thing. And that's one thing that I don't think the Marines do very well, but I understand why they do it, because there'd be a lot of people who would seek out and have mentors, but they would probably be a very, very small group of mentors, because there's, you know, while there's Marines do things really well, not all Marines are the best. And while they might be really good at their job, they might not be a good mentor. They might not be a good leader. You can be a Marine and not be a good leader. And so you're going to have a small group of people that are handling the lion's share of the mentorship, which they're more than willing to do, but that's going to detract eventually. There becomes a limit where it detracts from their ability to execute their job, and eventually makes them less effective as a Marine. So we assign people to essentially spread load the work. That's one way to have a mentor, is have it assigned to you. The other way, which all of us have in some capacity as a mentor, is what I would call like a familial, be it blood or childhood mentor or mentors. This could be multiple people, and typically it is. You know, we all have that grandma or that mom or that dad or that uncle or that neighbor that, you know, we grew up in, or a coach or a teacher that we grew up around and with, who greatly shaped the way that we see the world and the way that we execute in life. Now, we're still our own people. We still need to make our own decisions, but the way that those people that were in our lives that heavily influenced our personalities and our morals and our ethics had a great hand in shaping who we became and who we will become down the road. And that's very important. Critical on both sides. If you have loving, caring, honest, knowledgeable people who you hung around with as a child and growing up, chances are that's going to be the kind of person you're going to be. If you had people who were dishonest, bad, abusive and things like that, it doesn't mean you can't get out of that, but it's you have nothing to compare to other than what's bad. So that's why you see a lot of people who were abused as kids or who grew up in fatherless homes without that male role model to a good male role model, has to be a good one, to influence the way they live their life. They tend to perpetuate that cycle of immorality or lack of ethics or even abuse at certain extreme levels, right? So that's why that happens. It doesn't mean you can't exit it. It just means that it's heavily influenced on that person. It's imprinted on that person, and they're at a much bigger disadvantage. They have to overcome that. When they overcome that, they become much better for it, but it is much more difficult. So those are very, very, very critical mentors in our lives. And then you get into the ones that are more specific, the ones that are mentors to you and your business. And those can be either paid or not paid, I guess is the best way to put it. So paid mentors and not paid mentors. So what's a paid mentor? We talk about a mentor being somebody you like, know, and trust, and somebody who has your best interest in mind, is trying to impart their wisdom and their experience onto you. Now, I would say on the paid side, they definitely fit the latter. They're trying to impart their wisdom, their experience, and their skills and their knowledge onto you. But how much do you really, or can you really, like, know, and trust somebody that you pay $50,000 to $100,000 for? Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably, especially guys that are have these services that they provide or have gone through them, or like flipping me the bird right now. Trust me, I'm not downing them. I'm making a distinction here. I am totally for paid mentorship programs, because being a mentor is not a one-way street. At least it shouldn't be. Unfortunately, too often it is the case, and a lot of these mentors who are good people and very good and very willing to pass on their information kind of get sucked dry, right? So that money that people bring up front, that's their value. It's about providing value. Now, there's different ways to provide value. In a paid mentorship, that's the value you bring. You can be a unusable lump of clay, and you bring that money in. That's your value to that person, to now put their heart and soul into you to make you the best example of their experience and their knowledge that they can be, and make you as good as they can. And that's what the money's for. You're providing that value. Now, it doesn't mean that down the road, as you gain experience and knowledge, that you can't also be beneficial to them, and that's what they're counting on, and that's a good thing. It's very, very often that the mentors get a lot of value from the mentees, right? So it's a two-way street. So that's one way. The other way is a mentorship through business relationships, right, or experiences. So, for example, myself and a lot of buddies, we just had our REIA last night, Real Estate Investment Association. We call it the PIG, the Professional Investors Guild. Something like 600 guys, like 300 in the Pensacola area, and a bunch throughout the country. A lot of military guys, just due to the location of where this thing was founded, and the type of personality that tends to gravitate towards entrepreneurship. It tends to be a lot of military guys. So it's a great, great group of guys, especially for me and a lot of my peers who are also service members or former service members. So going to these groups is a great way to meet people who are way better than you at what you do or what you're trying to do. So why would they want to spend any time with you? They've already made it. They don't need you. But do they? If you're able to, and I'm going to give you an example, a really quick example from when I essentially got my first mentor, who's a good friend of mine. I knew him as a buddy. We were just bros, fishing buddies. We were both pilots together, but found out he did real estate, and he had been doing multifamily stuff. I got with him. I found out what he was doing. He had a deal. He had a mobile home park that I put money into, and I said, you know, it wasn't like, hey, you're now my mentor, and okay, you're my mentee, and I'm gonna mentor you. It wasn't like that. It just kind of happened based off the value that we could provide. I brought money to fund his deal, and I said to him, I want to learn this industry because I'm very interested in it. I want to be better. I want to create passive income and create generational wealth. Will you allow me to essentially run this deal? So yeah, you found it, I funded it, you know what you're doing, I don't. Would you be willing to let me run this thing, and then you just give me course corrections and steers along the way, and say, you know, don't let me screw it up too bad, but let me kind of figure things out on my own, and then I can come to you if I've got any questions or issues? And he said, absolutely. Well, what's the value there? Well, I just took a ton of work off of his plate. Instead of him having to be daily involved in the inner workings of the business, he had me to go do that and basically get my hands dirty and work in the trenches, so he didn't have to, and it freed him up to go do other deals. And so all he had to do was keep an eye on it once in a while, check in, see how things are going, which he did, and then be able to answer, just help me answer questions or issues that I had along the way with things that I didn't know. Now the key with that was, and I had learned this in the Marine Corps, and he's a fellow Marine as well, one thing we were taught that a lot of people aren't is we would always be told, don't come at me with problems, come to me with solutions. Now what does that mean? Well, if you don't know the answer to something and you go up to a senior guy, an instructor, your department head, and you say, hey sir, I don't know how to do this, can you tell me how to do it? You are going to get absolutely throttled, I guarantee it, if you just came there without a solution, or at least, hey, I went here, 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 and here, I looked in this pub, I looked here, I called these people, I asked this, and I asked this, I cannot find this, am I looking in the right place? If I am, what am I missing, and how am I not understanding that? If you don't come to them with that at a minimum, ideally come to them with, okay, it says this, but I'm seeing that it should be this, 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 and this. Is that correct, or am I wrong? And then they are going to then give you those course corrections, those steers, and say, yeah, you're on the right track, but you missed, did you think about this, or did you consider this? And then you're like, oh, yep, nope, that makes sense. Now I know why it wasn't working for me. So that is how a mentorship should work. That's how a mentor-mentee relationship should work. And we both knew that. So I would try my damnedest to figure out the solution to the problem. I would get stuck, or sometimes I was a little bit overzealous, and I would just go ahead and execute and then find out that it didn't work, which is a lot more expensive than doing it the other way. So I would highly recommend getting as far along the line as you can, and then confirming that this is the right way to do it, or that this makes sense. But you know, you pay for education one way or the other. But anyway, we already knew that, so that was very helpful, right? Anyway, that's how you should approach a mentorship. There should be equal, or at least similar value. You're not going to be able to provide to your mentor the knowledge and experience, right? That's what they're bringing. That's what they have over you. They have that over you in spades. So you have to bring something to them. If it's a paid mentorship, you're going to bring money, right? For them to teach you how to do their thing. If it's not, you're going to have to bring some type of value, some type of service. It doesn't even need to be in the same industry. If I'm a CPA and I'm really good at tax strategies and things like that, and I'm trying to get into multifamily investing, well, I can reach out to some guys that are really good at multifamily and say, hey, I'll provide you this service free of charge or for really, really cheap if you'll help me learn how to buy mobile home parks or apartment complexes or something like that. Help each other out. You're the expert here, they're the expert there. It's very rare that somebody is just completely retarded, right? They're probably very knowledgeable or more knowledgeable than they think in a certain thing and have more value to bring to the mentee side of a table than they think. So look for that. That's gonna make that relationship so much better, and that's gonna make mentors flock to you. They're gonna want to have you under them, and they're probably not gonna let you go. They're not gonna push you out to other people because they see the value that you bring to their table, and they're gonna probably find ways to bring you into the fold, into their partnership. So, and I've seen that as well. I just want to talk about mentors today. They're very important. If you don't have one at all, you probably aren't looking, because I guarantee you've got somebody out there that is or was or could or should be, you know, your mentor. But if you are in a specific niche in a business and you don't have a mentor, you got to get one. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're wrong. Like, you're in the wrong room. Doesn't mean you can't hang out with people who have less experience than you, and you should have this haughty, you know, holier than thou or better than you, or, you know, elitist mentality. That's retarded. That's a great way to fail in business. You should be seeking out people who are smarter than you, wealthier than you, more successful than you, just better operators, both in business and in their lives, and figuring out a way that you can provide them value. How can you need to look at it from that way. Not how can they help me? How can I learn what they're learning? How can I give them something that they don't have in exchange for what I want and what I need? And that's the way you need to approach it. So anybody out here who is looking for a mentor, seek somebody out. Again, ideally somebody you like, know, and trust, because otherwise it's going to be a kind of a weird relationship, right? Just because somebody's smarter than you and better than you at things, and they can really they have a ton of information. If you hate their guts, they're probably not the right person for you. They might be the right person for somebody, but they're not the right person for you. So find somebody that you like, know, and trust, and figure out a way to make them better. And then they're going to make you better, I guarantee it. So thanks again for watching, guys. I appreciate your time. As always, here's to your wealth.